Hello everyone. Today we are going to continue with the 10th topic, adaptations, how animals survive. So without wasting any time, let's begin with the next point. So today we are going to discuss the point adaptation in behavior. So students, the animals, they make changes in their behavior which are necessary to adjust themselves to the surroundings. So what are these adjustments or what are these adaptations that these animals do in themselves? The first one is hibernation. Now you may think, what is this hibernation? So students, the animals like polar bears, then frogs, as well as lizards, what do? During the winter season, they go for a deep sleep. Or we can say during the winter season, and the entire winter season, these animals like polar bears, frogs and lizards, they have a deep sleep. This deep sleep of these animals during the winter season is called as winter sleep, or we can say it as hibernation. So the definition for hibernation is the deep sleep of some animals during winter season is called winter sleep or hibernation. Since maybe these animals cannot tolerate this extreme winter, extreme cold, and so they go for a deep sleep during the winter season, and this deep sleep is also known as hibernation. The second adaptation is estivation. Now what is this estivation? Here you can see the definition. The long sleep of some animals during summer is called as summer sleep or estivation. So the long or the deep sleep that some of the animals take during the summer season, it is called as summer sleep or estivation. During the winter season, long sleep, it is called as hibernation, and the deep long sleep during the summer season is called as estivation. And the animals like snakes take long sleep during the summer season, which is called as estivation. The third adaptation that the animals make in themselves, or they make this adjustment, is migration. The definition for migration is the seasonal mass movement of animals to a favorable environment is known as migration. The migration mostly takes place in the birds. What happens? The birds which are living in extreme cold climate, for example the Siberian cranes, they live in extreme cold climate, and during the winter the atmosphere there becomes even more cooler, and so they are not able to adapt to that cooler atmosphere in the winter season. And so during the winter season, what do? They come to some other place in search of food, and they live there for that winter season, and once the winter season completes, they go back to their native place again. This is called as migration. Also there are various other birds. This one I have given the example of Siberian crane. There are many other birds which are not getting adjusted to that winter coldness of the winter season in their native places, and so for the winter period itself, what do? They go to some other places. During the winter season, you might have seen that near the Rankala lake or Kadamba lake or Rajaram lake, what happens? Various new birds we can see. These birds are the migratory birds. They have come from some other place to this place in order to live here for that 3 months, for the winter period. They come here in search of food, and they remain here for just 3 months, and once the winter season gets completed, they go back to their native place. So this is migration, the seasonal mass movement of animals to a favorable environment. So they try to find an environment which is favorable for them during these 3 months, or during the winter period, and once this winter ends, they go back to their places. Humpback whales live in polar regions. This is one more example of migratory animals. So humpback whales, this is a type of whales. Humpback whales, they live in the polar regions, but during the winter season they move to tropical oceans for breeding. Why do they do this? Because in the polar regions it is always cold, but during the winter season the coldness increases and these whales, the humpback whales, they are not able to tolerate it, and so what do? It is also their breeding period, that is the period during which they give birth to their eggs or the children. So what do? During the winter season they just move to the tropical oceans, they breed there, they give their young ones there, give birth to their young ones there, and once the winter period finishes they come back to their polar regions back. Now let us move on to the next adaptations found in the animals, that is adaptations for protection. So in order to protect themselves from the surrounding or from any other danger, there are some adaptations that are made by the animals in themselves. So what are these? The first one is camouflaging. So what is this camouflaging? So students, there are some animals like grasshoppers, or we can say zebras, then the leaf insect, or you might have seen chameleons. So these animals, the color of these animals and the shape of these animals, it just merges with the surrounding. So because of that, what happens? These animals, they can protect themselves from their enemies. The best example is a chameleon, Sarda. So the chameleon, it has the ability to change its color according to the surrounding in which it is. If it is moving on a tree, it will change into green color. If it comes on some other place, other area, it will change its color according to that surrounding. So this color changing ability of that chameleon helps it to protect itself from any enemy, from any danger. This ability of the animals to change themselves, it is called as camouflaging, and the animals which are able to merge their colors with their surrounding colors are called as camouflaging animals. So this adaptation or this ability of these animals helps them to protect themselves. Okay, the next is the shells and spines. So the animals like tortoise and snail, what do they have? You might have seen that they are having a hard covering, hard shell on their body. This is their protective adaptation. So they have adapted themselves so that since their body inside that hard shell, it is very soft and smooth, and so if even a little hard object touches them, it can harm them, it is dangerous for them, and that is why the adaptation is of generating a shell, a hard cover on their body. And some animals have spines. The animals like porcupines and hedgehog, what do they have? They have spines to protect themselves from the enemies. Spines in the sense they are having very pointed thorn like structure on their body. So if anyone try to catch them, those thorns will hurt them, and in this way the porcupines and the hedgehog, they can protect themselves from their enemies. So you can see these pictures in your textbook. The next is strong legs. So the animals like deer, giraffe and the ostrich also, they are having very strong legs. So if any large animal tries to catch them, in case of deer and giraffe, if the tiger and the lion, cheetah, any one of these tries to catch them, they have been gifted with strong legs, and with the help of these strong legs they can run so fast that they can protect themselves from their enemies, from any type of danger. The next one is poison. So some of the insects and some of the animals, they have been gifted with this poison sting, we can say. So what happens? Some animals like bees and wasps, they have sting to protect them. So if some big insect or big animal catches them, what do? They just sting and inject the poison which is present in their sting into that other animal, and the other animal will have a pain, and because of that pain the animal who have attacked these bees, wasps, or we can say you might have seen about the yes, so bees and wasps, they are the best examples who have poisons in their stings. Okay, one more example we can give. In Marathi we call it vinchu. Yes, it also has poison in its sting, and if someone tries to catch it, then what does that do? It just injects the poison which is present in its sting, and it, because of the severe pain, the insect or the animal or human being, if they have caught it, they will leave it. So these are some of the animals which have adapted themselves with these poison stings in order to protect themselves from the danger and from the enemies. The next adaptations are adaptations on the basis of food. So the type of food that the animals eat, or they have adapted themselves for eating such type of food. So the groups are made on this basis also, and the first group is herbivores. Herbivores is a group of animals that eats only plants, leaves and grass. So which are the animals? The animals like cow, goat, sheep, giraffe, deer, buffaloes. These animals eat grass, leaves and small plants. So these animals have sharp front teeth which are also called as cutting teeth or incisors, and for biting they have sharp teeth and strong back teeth. The back teeth of these animals are very strong for grinding the food that they eat. They are also called as grinding teeth or molars. So they are having sharp front teeth and the back teeth are strong. So these are the adaptations. The teeth, sharpness of the teeth and strongness of the teeth are the adaptations that these animals have in them, so that they can eat their plants and the leaves, grass easily. The next is the carnivores. Carnivores are the animals that eat the flesh of other animals. The animals like lions, tigers, then wolf, then we have cheetahs. All these animals, they catch small animals and eat their flesh, and that is why these animals have strong and sharp teeth to tear the flesh of the other animals. The next are the omnivores. Omnivores are the animals that eat both types of food, that is plants, leaves as well as the flesh of other animals. So these animals are called as omnivores. The examples are crows, deer, human beings. They eat both type of food, that is vegetarian food as well as the flesh, that is non-vegetarian food. So they are called as omnivores. The next are the parasites. Parasites, what are these parasites? First I will tell you the examples. Lice, bugs, then tapeworm, hookworm. These are the examples of parasites. Now what are these parasites? So students, the animals that live in or on the body of other animals are called as parasites. Okay, these animals like lice and bugs, they live on the body. If you are having dogs and cats at your house, you might have observed that small insects like lice and bugs are found on the body of dogs and cats as well. So these are the parasites because they obtain their food from these animals on whose body they live. Also the worms, the tapeworm and the hookworms, they live inside the body of the animals and they obtain the food from that animal itself in whose body these tapeworm and hookworm live. So these are also called as the parasites, and the animals from which these parasites they obtain their food are called as hosts. So these animals like lice, bug, tapeworm, hookworm, these are the parasites because they depend on some other body for their food, and the other body on whom all these parasites depend for their food, they are called as the host. The next are the scavengers. The animals like vulture and hyena, what do? They eat the dead animals. They eat the leftover flesh of the dead animals, and they help to keep clean the forest. So these animals like vulture and hyena are called as the scavengers. These animals, they eat the flesh of the dead animals. The vultures have strong and sharp beak. Yes, vulture is a bird. The vulture is having strong and sharp beak so that it can tear the flesh of the dead animals. The same is with hyena. The hyena is also having sharp and strong teeth. Hyena, it is an animal. It looks like a wolf only, but somewhat difference is there. Just we can't say it is completely like wolf, but there is some difference, somewhat similar to the wolf, and it has strong and sharp teeth so that it can easily tear the flesh of the dead animals and eat the flesh. Now let us move on to the last point of this lesson, that is endangered animals. So students, there are some animals on our earth which are in great danger. So organisms, they can adapt themselves to the conditions, but to a certain limit. If that conditions are too much, then these animals are not able to adapt with it. And in such a condition, what happens? The animals, they are in danger. The number of these animals goes on decreasing, and a situation comes where we do not find even a single animal of that species on this earth. Examples for it is dinosaur. We all know that in earlier days we had dinosaurs, huge dinosaurs on this earth, but nowadays we cannot see them. So these are the best examples of the animals that have got extincted. Extincted means the animals do not exist now. So the animals that do not exist on the earth now are called as extinct animals, and the animals that are in danger of becoming extinct are called as endangered animals. So students, there are some animals which are in an endangered condition. It means that the number of these animals is getting decreased very speedily. So the best example we can say a giant panda. Here you can see the picture of giant panda. It is one of the examples of endangered animals, but this is not the condition now. Few years ago the panda was in an endangered condition, but because of the human efforts that were taken to conserve this animal, the giant panda is no longer an endangered animal. It has been removed from the endangered category. Now the number of pandas is getting increased, but we know that the tigers, they are in an endangered condition right now because the number of tigers is getting reduced very speedily. The tigers, they are killed for their skin, which is a very, very bad thing, because the tigers, they also have the right to live, but human being, for his profit, he is going on killing these tigers. To obtain the skin from the tiger, the tigers are being killed, which is a very bad thing. Okay, among the extinct animal, that is the animal which is not found right now on earth, example is, one I gave you is dinosaur and the other is a dodo bird. This bird was found in the earlier days, but nowadays we can't see this bird on our earth. It has got extincted. No, even not a single dodo can be seen on the earth right now. So students, this was the lesson Adaptations, how animals survive.